Hello children, the second lesson in your English textbook is the sound of music. Part 1 is, as you can see here, Evelyn Glennie listens to sound without hearing it. Before I start discussing the lesson, I would like to give you some extra information about Evelyn Glennie. Her full name was Evelyn Elizabeth Ann Glennie, and she was born on 19th July 1965 in Scotland, in a small town called Aberdeenshire. She is now 54-year-old, and worldwide she is known as a Scottish virtuoso multi-percussionist. Virtuoso, this word might be a bit new for you. The spelling is virtuoso, virtuoso. That means a highly skilled person in music or art. And multi-percussionist means one who could play variety of drums and the instruments of that kind. He or she is known as multi-percussionist. Actually, percussionist means a person who can play drums, tabla, etc. He or she is called percussionist. So, she is known as a Scottish means one who is born in Scotland. Virtuoso means highly skilled in music. Multi-percussionist means one who could play the drums, variety of drums, multi, about 1000 instruments she had mastered in her life. She has mastered in her life about 1000 instruments. And she has been performing internationally with a wide variety of orchestras and contemporary musicians. And she has won several national and international awards. Evelyn has also written her own biography. Own biography means her own life story, which we call the autobiography. Okay, the name of her autobiography is Good Vibrations, My Autobiography. Good Vibrations, My Autobiography. This is the name of the book she has written. But this story which is in our course is a biography or the life story written by Deborah Cowley. The theme is very important. The theme of this story, the life story of Evelyn, is very important. The theme is this, listen very carefully. Firm conviction means firm faith or belief in oneself, in one's ability. Firm conviction and untiring hard work, tireless hard work bring sure results in one's life. This is the theme and message of this story. For anyone who wants to make great achievements, this story is an inspiration. So, my dear boys and girls, now as we are going to start the story, there is a quotation in the introduction. This quotation is by a famous percussionist. The meaning I have already told you, one who is expert in drumming, one who can play drums of variety of drums. He is a skilled person in playing drums is called a percussionist. So, a famous percussionist James Blades has made observation, and that is here. I read, you can see on the screen. God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That's why she expresses music so beautifully. So, this story is of a girl who had become deaf at the age of 11, and in spite of her physical handicap or infirmity, she made great achievements, and that's why this story is important. The story of a deaf musician, how one can achieve in spite of one's handicaps. That's what we understand, and that's why this lesson is very, very important. It brings inspiration to all of us, to any of us. The first paragraph, my dear boys and girls, is describing it. This paragraph describes the day when Evelyn was going to take admission in Royal Academy of Music in London. She had to give an audition there before she could be admitted, and this paragraph tells about how she was waiting at a railway platform. Of course, there were metro railway platforms in London. She was a slight girl. Slight means a thin and small girl, short girl, okay, and she was a bit nervous whether she would be admitted to that famous Academy of Music or not. And she was from Scottish farm you can see here, from rural area, okay, and that's why it was a very big challenge for her to prove her worth and confirm her admission in or ensure her admission in the Royal Academy of Music, because she was profoundly deaf, absolutely deaf girl she was. This is the first paragraph. The second paragraph, my dear boys and girls, tells you about how gradually her deafness was noticed. When she was 8-year-old, you can see on the screen, the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play a piano. They called her name and she didn't move. I suddenly realized she hadn't heard, says Isabel Glennie. Isabel Glennie is her mother, and she noticed it for the first time when Evelyn was 8-year-old. But Evelyn managed to hide her deafness from her teachers and from the others, from her friends, but it started growing, okay. It started growing, so 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. Then when she became 11-year-old, at that time something happened. You see, it is here, you see. But by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated. Deteriorated means gone down or worsened, okay. And her headmistress urged her parents to take her to a specialist. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. Her nerves were getting damaged and her hearing was getting deteriorated or impaired or affected. They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school of the deaf. The headmistress advised the parents, and Evelyn says when this happened, everything suddenly looked black. For a moment she couldn't understand. She couldn't understand what is going to happen and what is going to be her future. She was shocked. But paragraph 3 you can see, but Evelyn was not going to give up. As I said earlier, that she had formed faith in her own ability, and she was determined to lead a normal life. So then, my dear boys and girls, as she was admitted to the school of deaf, there were teachers who discouraged her, and they said that as she was deaf, she couldn't make great achievements in her life. But there was a percussionist, a teacher, his name was Ron Forbes. He found that the girl has some great potential in her, and one day, here I am reading, you can see, he began by tuning two large drums to different notes. Two large drums to different notes. Okay. Two drums he took, he tuned them up, and he directed Evelyn, "Don't listen through your ears," he would say, "try to sense it some other way." Okay, and then he started playing the drums, and Evelyn says, "Suddenly I realized I could feel the higher drum from the waist up and the lower one from the waist down." So, the vibrations of the higher drum she could perceive through the upper part of her body, and the vibrations of the lower drum she could perceive through the lower part of her body. And I have underlined here, you can see Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. I had learned to open my mind and body to sounds and vibrations. Now, sounds and vibrations were very important for her because she couldn't hear. Her hearing was terribly impaired, as we have seen. The rest was sheer determination and hard work. So she was now vowed, she has vowed to work hard and with full determination try to achieve the goal which she had fixed before her. Well, then fourth paragraph, my dear boys and girls. By the time she was 16, she had decided to make music her life. Okay, she was so fascinated by music that she thought that even if she has a handicap of deafness, she can make music her life and she can become a great musician. She auditioned for the Royal Academy of Music, as we have seen in the first paragraph. See, she auditioned for the Royal Academy of Music and scored one of the highest marks in the history of the Academy. Here the age is given 16, but just 1 year after that, she went to the Royal Academy, as we have seen in the first paragraph, and here the information is given that she gave the audition and scored the highest marks in the history of the Royal Academy. She gradually moved from orchestral work to solo performances. In the beginning, she was giving the orchestral performances, that means the band of musicians, with them she used to play music or together. Solo means single. Afterwards, she decided that she should try some solo performances, whether she would be a success or not, and she found that she could be a great success even if she performs singly or alone. At the end of her 3-year course, she had captured most of the top awards, not only the awards from the Royal Academy of London, but the awards from the other countries of the world also came her way. She had won those awards also. And here she says, paragraph 5, and for all this, Evelyn won't accept any hint of heroic achievement. If you work hard and know where you are going, you will get there. This is very inspirational sentence. If you work hard and know where you are going, you will get there. This was her faith and conviction, as I told you earlier. And she got right to the top, the world's most sought after multi-percussionist with a mastery of some 1,000 instruments and hectic international schedule. How many instruments? 1,000 instruments she mastered. It was really an astonishing, a great achievement on her part. Okay, then here in the following paragraph, the interview with Evelyn and how she expressed her opinion about the people is given. There is there, and towards the end of that paragraph number 6, I am reading here. She speaks flawlessly with a Scottish lilt. Scottish lilt, lilt means a way of speaking. Scottish lilt. My speech is clear because I could hear till I was 11. She is just deaf, but she was not deaf before 11-year-old. Before she was 11-year-old, she could hear, and that's why she could hear and understand people's speech. But now, after she became deaf, she could understand what they spoke by the lips movement and by the eye contact. So, lips movement and the eye contacts were important for her to decide about the person with whom she used to talk face to face. So, this is how she perceived or understood about the character of a person who sat before her and talked to her or interacted with her. She says, but that doesn't explain how she managed to learn French and master basic Japanese. Look, her achievement. Not only she was a great percussionist, but she mastered the French language and basic Japanese language also she learned. So, in spite of her handicap, she is able to achieve such great things in her life, and not only one language, English, but the other languages also she learned. And here it is important, paragraph number 7, my dear boys and girls, it is here. You can see I am reading. As for music, she explains, it powers in through every part of my body. It tingles in the skin, my cheekbones, and even in my hair. When she plays the xylophone, she can sense the sound passing up the stick into her fingertips. By leaning against the drums, she can feel the resonances flowing into her body. On a wooden platform, she removes her shoes so that the vibrations pass through her bare feet and up her legs. See, she says music is, when the music is played, it enters in her body through her skin, her cheekbones, her hair, and every part of her body. And xylophone is an instrument, it is beaten with a stick. So, when he beats it, the fingertips receive the vibration of the xylophone and she feels it. And when she is leaning against the drums and playing them, the resonances, the sounds of music are passing into her body as she bends before a drum and starts playing. This is how her body is highly sensitive and perceptive, and she perceives the vibrations of music. And as you know, vibration is everywhere. In the cosmos, there is vibration. There is fragrance, smell, and vibration in the cosmos. Well, paragraph 8 tells you how she got the Royal Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year award. Then the statement, the observation of James Blades, which is in the beginning of the book, it is here, which we have already seen in the beginning. It is here, says master percussionist James Blades. You can read, God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That's why she expresses music so beautifully. Well, my dear boys and girls, we go to now paragraph number 9. Evelyn confesses that she is something of a workaholic. Workaholic is an informal word, a slang, which means, you can see here, who can't, one who can't live without working, one who works or likes to work day and night. Whenever one gets time, as you are alcoholic, you are drug addict, in the same way she was a workaholic. She wanted to work day and night, a hard working person she was. That's why this word workaholic. Evelyn confesses that she is something of a workaholic. I have just got to work, often harder than classical musicians, because classical musicians, they practice very hard, vocal practice they do, and then they are able to make achievements in various ragas which they sing. So she says she works harder than even the classical musicians, but the rewards are enormous. Great rewards are there. So in any field, if you want to make achievement, you work hard and the great rewards will come your way. This is what we understand, and this is the message of this story. Okay. Apart from the regular concerts, Evelyn also gives free concerts in prisons and hospitals. Some charity work she does, prisons, hospitals. There she goes and gives the musical concerts. She also gives high priority to classes of young musicians, and Richland of the Beethoven Fund of Deaf Children says she is a shining inspiration for deaf children. They see that there is nowhere that they cannot go. That means she is an inspiration for the deaf. And I would say, why for the deaf alone? She is an inspiration for all, because she has proved that in spite of your weaknesses, you can achieve. You can achieve. You should take the first step, and till you achieve, you shouldn't look back. Well, paragraph number 8. Evelyn Glennie has already accomplished more than most people twice her age. 2 lifetimes work she has done in 1 lifetime, and that too in just 55 years of age she has achieved. So double work in 1 lifetime she has done. She has brought percussion to the front of the orchestra and demonstrated that it can be very moving. She has given inspiration to those who are handicapped, people who look to her and say, if she can do it, I can. And not the least, she has given enormous pleasure to millions. To 2 types of people. One, those who are handicapped, she is an inspiration for them, and the common people, millions of people for whom she has given the orchestral performances, solo performances, musical nights and performances. She has given pleasure to a large number of people. So she is really a legend, and she is really a great achiever in the field of music, and that's why this story is very important and it has a great message. So my dear boys and girls, I highlighted certain important points in this story, and I tried to explain the theme and the other important points in this story, and I have read certain parts you might have understood. Further, you read the whole story at home again and try to understand the contents of it and take inspiration from this story. And if any problem is there, you can just ask me in the class. Well, class means there are no real classes now, virtual class. You can ask me, telephonically, or you can just on WhatsApp, you can send some message and you can ask me the difficulties or the problems or any questions regarding this lesson. So here we finish this lesson, my dear boys and girls, and I hope you will get inspired by reading such a story of a great achiever. That's all for today. Thank you very much.